I know y'all heard that phrase, like people don't really change until they're sick and tired of being sick and tired. And there have been times, there have been so many times in the last so many years, but I'm just going to stick to the last 5 because for me, that's when my life really, really transitioned, was when I escaped a marriage that was full of domestic violence. And that's when I decided I am on a healing trajectory. But in those past 5 years, I have been through hell trying to heal, going through perimenopause, complex PTSD off the rails, depression, anxiety, suicidal ideations, losing my job, poverty. I mean, it's been hell. And there were so many times where I'm just like, I'm just so sick and tired of being sick and tired. I literally can't take this shit no more. If you have ever been there, this really is for you. I really am out here trying to make a difference with women who've been in positions I have where you're just like at the bottom of the bottom of the bottom. I don't even say publicly all of the ways that I've been at the bottom of the bottom because I think people would be too freaked out, honestly, because you start telling your story, your trauma story, people get really, really, really freaked out. All I'm gonna say is there's been so many times I've been low, and I just really have always wanted resources from Black women. I've always looked up to Black women. I've always wanted to learn from Black women. And I've always felt like there is that part of me that needs the soul refreshment that only Black women can give. Always had a passion for Black women. It's who I am and what I'm about, period. So everything has always been that. But I think in the last couple of years, I've had more clarity. Like, what is your girls are getting old. Okay. So I'm like, what is the legacy I want to leave? Like there's just kind of a reality of like people my age are dying of like stroke and heart attack. And, thank God I'm healthy. I'm not trying to, have a little subtle message here. I am healthy right now that I know of, and anything could happen to any of us at any time. But I think just being older, I'm like, I really want to be sure that I'm spending my time and energy giving to something that's meaningful to me and for others. So when I say I'm rooting for Black women, that I make resources for Black women, that my podcast is for Black women, that my TikTok is for Black women, that what I write, I know a lot of people, there's other women who interact with my content and have expressed appreciation. I just always want to center Black womanhood. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. But so if you're here and you're not a Black woman, there is still something for you. I just know that I am centering the Black woman experience and what I've been through, if that makes sense. Anyway, hey y'all, welcome back to Out Here Trying to Survive. It has been a month and a half or so since I did my last episode. I'm not even gonna lie, y'all, I got discouraged. I got completely, utterly discouraged. And I was like, I'm not doing this no more. I got tired. I have ADHD bad since perimenopause. I got bored of editing. I just was like, I'm done with this. And over the last month and a half, I realized like you cannot be done with something that you dream of doing. Like I would love to do this podcast full time. I love speaking and writing and sharing and content creation and all that. So it just felt like, Grace, just take a break. So someone else in my life, one of my like very best friends, she was like, girl, just take a break. Like, girl, you're tired. Just take a motherfucking break. And I was like, oh, girl, okay, fine. Because she was like, wouldn't it be better just to take a break than to quit? And I was like, yes, you are so right. You are so right. And I feel like it gave me the time to actually realize like, you can make something that is a little bit more concrete than just the podcast. So I just wanted to share with you what I made. And just so you know, if you've been following me on IG, TikTok, anything, I don't sell y'all stuff, like, unless it's something I'm using like all of the time. Like on TikTok, I've been making these little TikToks about the Nero gum. I've been using that Nero gum like it's candy. Okay. So I want to share with y'all what I made, but this is not something that I have not lovingly poured myself into and use myself all the time. These tips, tricks, tools, and techniques that I'm going to tell y'all about. I wonder if I could squeeze in any other word that starts with a T in that sentence. Tools, tips, tricks, and techniques. I ain't even write that down, y'all. Anyway, so I just want to share with y'all a little bit more. I mean, I know I've shared so much of my story on this podcast, but I think that there's not a lot. I feel like, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like there's not a lot of spaces for Black women to be completely at the bottom of the barrel where you're falling apart in every way. I feel like sometimes we talk about like, oh yeah, our depression or, I don't know, just sadness, overwhelm at some of the realities of what it means to be a Black woman. But I don't see a lot where people are like, I was at the end of my motherfucking rope. Like, I was literally at the end of my rope and about to hurt myself or hurt someone else. Like, I was down bad, in survival mode bad, and not able to function bad. I just don't hear that a lot. Tell me if I'm wrong, but like, that's what I'm trying to describe about where I was at and where I'm trying to help any woman who's in that place where you're down so bad, or you just been trying really hard and you just can't seem to progress. Like, maybe you're not at 0. If 0 is the worst of the worst and 10 is everything's good, your whole life is perfect. Anywhere between, 0 and 5 or 6. Like, a lot of us find ourselves there going up and down. This episode is sponsored by Grace Actually, Memoirs of Love, Faith, Loss, and Black Womanhood. Does that face look familiar? It's me. This book is a collection of my favorite blog posts and things I've written in the last, 5 to 8 years or so on love, faith, loss, and Black womanhood. It's highly reviewed, all 5-star ratings on Amazon and Goodreads. Go pick it up. But first, let me tell y'all a story. I've mentioned in previous episodes how in 2023, I came really close to unaliving myself. I won't go into the whole story because I know I've talked about it in probably 2 other episodes now, but it was a really scary freaking time. I was really at the end of my rope, and I didn't really see a way out of that. But part of the reason that was so scary is because I was in such a hard place financially. And that was 2 years ago. So like a year ago, I was doing better, but I was still having a hard time working. I was still having a hard time making money. And I was doing social media. I was making some money with social media, but I was never making enough because I just wasn't consistent enough, in part because my depression was so freaking bad. Either way, I always felt like I was in some sort of survival mode. And I remember at the time I had a couple of different girlfriends, and we have since parted ways. But one of those girlfriends, actually both of them, but in different phases. But one of them was just putting a lot of pressure on me to go back to work, part-time, full-time. And I was trying to tell her, like, I'm just not at a place to do that. Emotionally, I was not at a place to do that. I really don't know how else to explain it. I was not at a place to do it, y'all. I was struggling with unaliving ideations once a month. I had PMDD, premenstrual dysphoric disorder. And so I was feeling a level of very deep, profound depression for 5 to 7 days before every period, and then culminating in an unaliving ideation that was lasting anywhere from 2 to 3 minutes to 10 hours. I was also just starting to really experience, like, really heavily all of the perimenopause stuff. And so, just tired all of the time and not sleeping well. And between that and how I felt like a caged animal whenever I did anything, because I was trying to do gig work and things like that just to pay some basic bills. And I felt so anxious. Never before was my life like that, and never has it been after. And so when my friend was arguing with me, she just kept pushing me like, I bet you would be in less stress if you would just go back to work full time. And I'm like, girl, I'm not even able to do gig work for more than 4 or 5 hours a week. And I'm running out of there. I had gotten in trouble. I was doing a gig job. I was like literally stalking. I don't even know how to say STOCKING. Stocking. I was stocking boxes at like a Meijer, like a grocery store. And I felt so much anxiety. I ran out of there one time, and the guy was just like, you're not done. You're not even close to being done. And I was looking at all of the like 200, 300 boxes and like, there's no fucking way. There's no fucking way I'm about to do that shit. Anyway, the anxiety was high. It wasn't about the physical. I could physically lift up the boxes. It was like my mental was so fucked up. It was such a hard time of life. And I was trying to explain to her, like, I can't. There's no way I can do full time. I knew if I did enough part time, at that time I was on government assistance, and I knew I would lose the SNAP benefits and my Medicaid, which I really, really needed, especially heading into perimenopause, right? So I was just like, I am not in a good place. And I understood that being broke all the time and not having enough money was contributing to the level of sadness and depression I felt. And at the same time, I felt like, I don't know what the hell you expect me to do, but I can't be around people. I can't be caged in a room. I can't sit behind a desk. I can't do a bunch of fucking boxes. Like, I'm just not okay. And a bunch of people in my life, I was trying to explain this to them. Like, I'm just not at a place. I can't even really do social media anymore because I had been doing TikToks and I was just starting to get momentum with TikTok. I had got up to like 22,000 followers and I kind of threw it all away because I was starting to feel super anxious about that too. And I had got my YouTube channel up to like 8,000 followers or subscribers. And then I kind of threw all of that away. It was like I couldn't even do my own shit. It was like one thing for me to like be motivated and do my shit, but like I couldn't even do that, let alone go work for someone else. So I'm just drowning in debt and bills and everything. And I understand my friend being like, if you would just take your ass to work, you wouldn't be so fucking poor and depressed. And at the same time, it's like, I would be depressed. I think even if I had money, money probably would have helped, but I was pretty sure like I'm down bad. I'm down bad. Okay, so I'm just trying to explain to y'all someone whose nervous system was shot, like beyond. And I did not know how I was ever going to get out of this shit, ever. How I was going to survive any of that. I was in therapy and then I stopped going to therapy because, well, there was a lot of reasons, but I'll just say it was time for my therapist and I to move on. I was always journaling. I've always journaled. I've always prayed. I've never not prayed, no matter what I was going through. I was starting to meditate more. I had done EMDR in therapy before I left that therapist. There were so many days I couldn't get out of bed. There were so many days I was just eking by trying to take care of my kids, and low-key kind of couldn't wait till they went back to their dads because it was so hard for me to take care of myself, let alone like manage the emotions of 3 kids. I just didn't have anything left, and I hope y'all believe me when I say it wasn't because I wasn't trying. I really was trying. I really was trying to heal. I really was trying to read books that would facilitate healing. I really was trying to meditate. I really was trying to rest my body. I really was trying to figure out like what can I do to get unstuck? What can I do to be less depressed? I started trying different medicines. I was trying. I really was trying. I needed tools that felt really doable for me. I needed to rest more without feeling like I had to hustle. I needed to not pretend. I wish that I hadn't been trying to make money with social media at that time, even though it felt like my only hope, but it made me have to pretend constantly that I was okay when I was really in the most fucked up place that I had ever been, probably. So I want to tell you guys about something that I made for y'all that is something that I wish I had, which is resources from a Black woman who has gone through and has survived it and has that unique perspective. Because y'all, I'm not a therapist. I don't have a master's degree in social work. I'm about to graduate, by the way. I only have 2 classes left and I'm about to graduate with my master's, but not in social work, in global and mass communications, which, it has some, no, it doesn't. Never mind. I was going to say it has overlap. It does not have overlap. I'm not a therapist nor a counselor, but I am someone who has for years poured into other people. And I do consider myself to be a wounded healer, someone who is always of the mindset of healing, but has always been kind of wounded myself. So it's kind of like, you gotta understand where you're coming from. Like, yes, I'm a healer and I don't need to have had a master's degree in social work or be a licensed clinical psychotherapist to give y'all advice. I just try to be very careful. I do have training in being trauma informed, but I am someone who always likes to, and not likes to, is very intentional to learn from Black women. And I want to be that for other Black women who have that same value, but also value knowing someone has the lived experience. So anyway, I didn't create a course. I didn't create a workbook for you to just like put away in your inbox and never look at it again. This is also not something to rush through like, oh, you do this and then you're going to be information. It's not like that. It's more like a system that just has some tools for you to come back to when you need it. I created it for Black women 35 plus. That's my primary audience anyway. So if you fit that demographic and you have navigated trauma, you potentially have ADHD, either way, you can't focus because perimenopause has made your brain all whack. You're maybe single. Why did I say whack? Okay, whatever. Anyway, you're maybe a single parent. You're dealing with grief from whatever, maybe divorce. Maybe you dealing with grief from just still being married. I mean, Anyway, what it is it is four very short like voice notes from me about a certain topic, and then 4 trauma informed ADHD friendly worksheets that have to do with the audio. A printable weekly calendar that's going to help you create rhythm without like rigidity, because I'm someone who does not thrive on rigidity. So I wanted to make it for people who are like me. And then I have some podcast recommendations, YouTube recommendations, and book recommendations by topic. So, some of them are about self-love, and specifically some of them are about resilience. Some of them are about self-care. Some of them are about shame and guilt. So I took a lot of time compiling some of these resources and things that I've used, because I really wanted to pass it on to y'all. And then I also have some other freebies and bonus stuff that I have given away in the past, and I wanted to just throw it in there. One of them is like a five tips for like how to calm your anxiety. If you are a peri baddie like me, your peri and anxiety is just like come up to the forefront of something that is actually a big problem, which is really, really common for us peri baddies and perimenopause. Just the level of mood swings is insane. It's insane out here. So it is called the Soft Girl Survival System. And I just want to offer something that helps other women experience the softer side of healing. And I don't know what happened between last year and this year. Like last year, July, 2024, and this year right now, today is July. What is today? I want to be sure I have it right. Today is July 21st. Y'all, oh my God, the last time I changed this was in April. I'm going to change this while I'm talking to July 21st. Because this is insane. The way that I put this up here and constantly, routinely forget about it. You can tell I have ADHD by the way I'm filming this podcast right now. Which, by the way, if you're listening on Apple, Spotify, or anything like this is also a video podcast on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, please like this. If you're on YouTube, please go to Apple, Spotify, subscribe, like, do all of those things that help me push this out. But anyway, so I wanted to create something that helps you know and reminds you, like, you don't have to heal overnight or even in a year. Oh yeah, that's what I was talking about. I don't really think that I've healed in the past year, like all of the healing I'm ever going to do. But like, I can tell I don't have to like fake or pretend anything anymore. Like I have healed on my own terms, but I have seen such major progress in the last year that sometimes I'm like, what is happening to me? How am I handling this so differently? How am I able to stay so calm? How am I not filled with anxiety about some of these situations? And I'm not saying that I haven't had mistakes. Like literally 2 episodes ago, I talked about being in a dating situation that like sprung my anxiety into full, like it was full blown, but I had a very loving interaction with my inner child. I would highly suggest watching that if you want to learn about doing inner child work, because that's something I've been doing for years. And I feel like in this one dating situation that was only a week, by the way, because that's how I've learned and grown, is not staying around in things that aren't good. I had this very powerful interaction with my inner child. I think after years of doing inner child work, that was very effective. And it was just like, oh yeah, this is not working. You gotta exit. And that is not me, y'all. That has not been me. It is me now, but it wasn't me last year. This time I wouldn't have exited that situation within a week, and I wouldn't have been the one to exit it because the chaos was more comfortable. But I'm finally at a place where I'm healing enough to see like the chaos is not more comfortable to me at all. The peace that passeth all understanding is where I'm at now. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Yes, thank you, Jesus. Ooh, Lord. So healing on my own terms has meant, I think for some people, like it's hard to watch someone heal and like be messy and have hard stuff happen and then have them take 5 steps forward and 10 steps back. But it's really, really beautiful if you're the person who's doing it and you're doing it at your own pace without letting people pressure you or do things that you're not comfortable with. It feels so good to see this progress. I am so proud of myself for the progress. If you all knew how bad it was just 2 years ago, like it was bad. Like, one day, hopefully I'll be able to tell y'all the truth about like the kind of things that were happening. I'm not ready for that level of disclosure yet. Ooh, child. Ooh, child. So I just want to offer a reminder, like, first of all, if you're down bad, like if you're really, really down bad, it doesn't have to stay that way. And honestly, I've said this before, me looking into the law of attraction and the law of manifestation and those kind of things really helped me, like really helped me to take a little bit more control of my situation. That's what really got me really fiercely into meditating and led me on, I think it fast tracked my healing journey a little bit more because of the way that it encourages you and empowers you to take control of your situation by taking control of your thoughts. It really helped me. So that's number one. I really want to encourage you to look into that if you are down bad, about how you can really work on your mindset about everything. But I also created this because I really relate to what it feels like to be holding it all together and be crumbling in secret. And I just want to remind you, if you're down bad, like, you could be quietly falling apart. And I just want to remind you, you don't need to be strong all the time. You do need a place to be safe, and you need a place to be soft, and you need systems that hold you. But the thing is, y'all, this is what I really want to impart, is that I, for a long time, was looking for all of those things outside of myself. I really thought for a while, if I was going to be safe, I would find that safety in a relationship with a man. Yeah, I believed that. Which is actually really fucking hilarious if you think about it. But anyway, I really thought if I was going to find softness, that I would find that like just in general out in the world. There is softness out in the world. I have found softness from my girlfriends, but I also feel really blessed. I know a lot of women who don't have really close, beautiful girlfriend friendships, and I do. And I just feel like not everyone has that. If you don't have it, you got to provide it for yourself. It's an inside job. We need systems. If you're down bad, you need systems that allow you to be held. And the thing is that those systems are not in place, baby. If you're in America, I mean, I don't know anywhere in the world, but especially if you're a Black woman in America, it's not in place for us. And so the systems that we have in our life, the rituals, the things that we do to create safety for ourselves, like, have to be self-led. They have to be our own systems, like our own household. And everything that I realized that before I was only praying for and asking for and not having any sort of sense of agency before, I had to give myself. I had to give myself the place to not be strong. I had to give myself a sense of safety. I had to give myself a sense of softness and realize that there was not a cis heterosexual man who was going to give me any of that for any reason. That was just a mission failure in every way. And so that is number one. There's a situation recently where I was talking to someone and I'm trying to figure out what to share of it. There were so many good things. There were some really, really good things. I feel like it brought out like a very soft, sacred side of me. In a way, like, I took the momentum that I felt from him treating me in a way that felt very soft and sacred, and I took it and I really like applied it to myself. It's really hard to describe, but I felt like this softness that he's giving me, like, I deserve this. It was really one of the first times that I allowed myself in a dating situation to say, like, this person is treating you in a way that is a reflection of your value and worth, and yes, you deserve it, as opposed to fighting it or pushing back, or like I said, like, the chaos used to be where I lived. And so experiencing softness in a dating situation would have been more challenging to me at any other point in my life, but I received it. So when that situation ended, I still had it. And it was interesting because my therapist asked me the other day, like, what made you... Because my therapist, okay, so it was I'm going to tell y'all this story because it's a cute little story. My therapist was like, it seems like after this whole thing ended, like, you're not questioning your worth or whether or not you're worthy or why this didn't work out or whatever. And I was like, yeah, because I'm not questioning it because I just know it. And he was like, well, how do you know it? Because this is really different for you. Like, he could see like some of the changes. And I was like, well, there's a few things. Like, one is this man who I was dating, he was doing a really good job of like constantly pouring into me with his words and letting me know how valuable I was and how precious I was and how beautiful I was inside and out and what a great mom I was. He was just always really pouring into me with positivity, which was a beautiful thing. But I also do that to myself. Like I spend a fair amount of time in my meditations, but also like in guided meditations, but also in my own. And also when I wake up and when I go to sleep, when my brain is in theta mode, I try to do a lot of positive affirmations just while I'm laying in bed. But like self-worth has been something I have been really, really, really diving into. And especially with dating, because ain't nothing like dealing with a nigga that drag you all the way to fuck to the bottom of the ocean. Okay. Like for me, like dating has been the one thing that like I could be like on a high and doing really good and it will like drag me to the ocean of like, you are worth nothing. I'm going to treat you in a way that makes you feel like you are worth nothing, you know, and it can be so subtle. Y'all know what I'm talking about. If you've been through it, it can be so, if you have dated in the 2020s ever, I'm just playing. If you ever dated, you know, dated or been married. Honestly, my ex-husband took me to hell. He took me to hell and back. I did not think I was worth anything when I left my ex-husband by the time I got out. And so dating is just, that has been really, really challenging for me. But this situation, I was just like, no, I know my worth. Like, I know all of these wonderful things about me. My therapist was like, so how? So I told him, I was like, yeah, it's that. But I've also been doing the work myself. And I've been really just like trying to see the sacred and the spiritual in what it means to really embody that kind of love. Like, what does it really look like? I've just been asking myself those deeper questions and just trying to do it without pulling teeth. And I realize that there's a level of justice in some way in someone else treating you like you're not sacred and special and you doing it for yourself. So if no one's ever said it to you, you're allowed to be okay. You're allowed to love yourself. You're allowed to feel worthy. You're allowed to thrive, period. So if this spoke to you even a little bit, if you've been in your mind thinking like, damn, I am really tired, or like, yeah, everything I have tried has really, I still feel really fucking stuck. This is for you. So the Soft Girl Survival System is built for you today. You can start it anytime. You can start it 100 times. You can start at any place in it. It's not about perfection. This is just permission to start the healing process. So it is available on my Stan store. You can click the links in the show notes and you can find out more. You can find it on my website also. And this is just a way for you to get some support. This is not like by all means all you're ever going to need. This is just a beginning, but just know that I'm here and I love y'all. I really do. Anybody who's on this journey of trying to survive, I really, really love y'all. Like bad. I love y'all down. Okay. For real. I'm not even kidding. And if you feel like you need help, I am reopening up my coaching services. Again, I'm not a therapist or a counselor, but I have been on this journey and I do know how to help other women get through it. You can also find that in my Stan store. You can book. I'm just right now just doing 1-hour sessions, 45-minute sessions. Sorry. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Again, give me a like and subscribe. Please subscribe to my Substack where you can be the first to hear about any new resources that I come out with that are meant to help us live, survive, and thrive out here in these streets, especially in these perilous times where the orange orangutan is taking over and ruining every good thing about our lives in America. But we gonna survive, y'all. We gonna survive. We gonna even thrive through it. I love y'all so much. Thank you for being here again, even after my long ass break. And I'm hoping to be back regularly. So I will see y'all in the next episode. Bye.